Hey, beautiful mama. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod. I am so happy and grateful you are here. Today, I'm coming to you to make this introduction. No makeup on, greasy hair, my sports bra, my yoga pants on, because I have decided that I am taking today off and I am spending the day in nature with my husband. The world feels really loud, chaotic, divided, and scary right now. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you don't know who to believe or what to think or how to feel, but uh, I now more than ever feel called to bring us together. And so what I do in times like these, when big things are happening in the world, I opt out of the noise for a little while. Okay. I got off social media for 2 days. Then I went up to the mountains and co facilitated a women's retreat, which was extraordinary. And I hug trees and hug my family. And I connect to God, Mother Nature, the universe, and I connect to my heart. I feel like the assignment right now is to keep our hearts open, our backs strong, and to use our voices. I am a human first being. And all of this hatred and this distraction of pinning people against each other, I see right through it. We are more alike than you realize. Nobody wins if somebody, like one side, does. We all have big hearts. We all can make a difference through the act of love. And so I love today's conversation because I got to sit down and chat with my friend Vera Knight, who I met at an advanced energetics retreat, about human experiences, right? So let me tell you a little bit about Vera. She's such a firecracker. You guys are going to love her. So Vera Knight is the author of the Don't Wait series, a raw 3-book journey of reckoning, rising, and remembering that flips the conversation on family estrangement and self-estrangement. A self-described spiritual realist, Vera blends truth-telling with body-based healing, breathwork, and legacy work to help women stop waiting for permission, for apology, for the right moment, and come home to themselves. Through her books, her Pages to Presence community, and her Legacy in Motion membership, she's building a movement that's less about fixing your mother and more about reclaiming you. Vera's work is resonating with readers who are ready to face denial, heal what's been buried, and live their legacy in real time. Her book is out now. I'm going to link it in the show notes. But in times like this, I think it's more important than ever to have real, raw, honest, maybe even a little provocative conversations with one another, where we talk about the hard thing, where we talk about the things that are happening in our society that maybe we have shame about, where we remember that we're one, when we connect our heart to heart and spiritually. Like, we talk about some very real things in her life here, like the estrangement with her daughter and spending an entire lifetime abandoning herself to fit in and reckoning with that in her 60s. So, y'all, I am obsessed with this woman. I explain actually in the interview the impact that she made on me when we met at this retreat. So I cannot wait for you to get into it. And my tagline, take care of yourselves and therefore each other, feels even more important to say right now. I love you. Hey, babe, I'm Brooke Jean, licensed therapist, coach, mama, and your straight talking guide to ditching the pressure and living a life unperfected. I've coached some of the top C-suite women in America, women leading billion-dollar companies while secretly falling apart. I've been her. I blend psychology, neuroscience, and energetics with lived experience to help high-achieving women actually heal so that they can access their infinite energy, creativity, and vitality. If you're a perfection-obsessed woman who's checked every damn box, career, family, house, 401k, but still feels low-key dead inside, you're in the right place. Here, we rip off the good girl mask, call out the BS, and build a life that actually feels like yours. We talk healing, we talk revealing, we talk rising, and we do it raw, real, and unfiltered. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Disaster. Haven't had a haircut in 3 months with this book.
I'm so flippin' stoked to have you on the show. This lady right here, my beautiful listeners, she is a freaking force to be reckoned with. I met her this past year at Sam Skelly. You guys know she's my mentor. I met Vera at the Advanced Energetics Retreat. Y'all heard me talk about the Advanced Energetics Retreat. And this being, this firecracker, I immediately felt like a soul connection to you. Your laugh is medicine. Your shit talking, your East Coast accent. It's like, where have you been my whole life, Vera? Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Oh my God, I am so excited to be here, Brooke. You have no idea. And you're absolutely right. Meeting you in Sam Skelly's program was magic. You know, the whole experience was magic. And just certain people were even a little bit more magic, you know. So
Yes.
thank you. So this is exciting for me to be here.
And the fact that you're here because we're talking about something beautiful that you're birthing into the world right now feels divine to me. And so I have to let the listeners know, first of all, we've had to reschedule this because, you know, mom life. Second of all, we had our time zones wrong. So I caught you getting ready. You're like, I'm not even ready. We like what it took for us to get here is hilarious and perfectly imperfect. She's got, you guys got to watch this on YouTube. She has a big cheek because she got 2 effing root canals during the launch of her book. And she's still laughing about it and smiling because she said it's actually, let's start there. You said it's part of your denial work. What do you mean when you say denial work, babe? Let's start there.
Oh my God, yeah, we'll just jump right into the middle of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, you know, so thank you for talking about my book. It's called Don't Wait, right? It's the Don't Wait series. And, you know, part of, for me, Don't Wait is like denying my whole entire life, right? Certain things like, you know, denying the truth of who I am, you know, the genius that I bring to the world, the shrinking myself, the people pleasing, all of those things, just being in denial. And as I've been healing, because it's a healing journey, right? It's a spiritual journey. It's a healing journey. And it's been 5 years for me to get to here. And even now, like it shows up sometimes. It's like a reminder. Like, so when I said it's part of the denial journey, it's like a reminder that I have been in denial, and I was in denial over this tooth. You know that
I was in denial that I needed to go to the dentist. That is relatable,
I
queen.
was in
That is
denial.
effing relatable.
And I'm keeping it at bay. I'm keeping it at bay. And in my head, I'm going, if I could just get through this book and this launch. But, you know, like you said, it's always something else. It's always something else. And now that the book actually launched yesterday, right? And I had the root canals done on Monday,
The day before.
the day before. Like, what was I
You're
thinking?
insane.
I wasn't thinking, but it's all part of God's timing because it kind of kept me here. It kept me grounded right here. And sometimes we need a little bit of an extra. This is the way I'm interpreting it anyway. Sometimes we need a little bit of an extra something to ground us. And for me, it was a root canal. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it does to me, you know,
Yes.
because it's
Yeah, it
personal. It's all
absolutely
me,
does.
right?
Yeah. Okay, so oh gosh, girl, there's
It's,
so many places we could go with this. Like, all right, let's start here. What were you denying in yourself? And when did you realize you were denying something? And is that when you started your spiritual awakening healing journey? Or let's get into your story a little bit more and what informed the book.
Oh my God, what informed the book? You know, it's like this, you know, I started to realize that we have this quiet abandoning that we do to ourselves, right? And we are always out there, we're denying ourselves while we're trying to keep the peace. We're seeking approval. We want to be the one that holds it all together, right? All those things. Like, I mean, it's everywhere. And I was the queen of it. And for me, it looked like constantly showing up in roles that I didn't even like agree to in my life. Cause a lot of those things, like who agrees to that? To be the peacekeeper and and all the things. So, yeah. And then part of it too is like, I'm not only talking about those roles as a wife and a mother and employee, the team mom, all the things. I'm talking about like really perfecting this persona, right? Because we
Mm.
perfect the persona and denial is part of that. And I always looked like the strong one on the outside, but actually what was happening, I was poisoning my own system. And that was like, and I knew it deep inside. I honestly did. And when I figured that out, that's what led me actually to like birth this work into the world, the Don't Wait series. And it's called Don't Wait Till Your Mother Is Dead. But it's not about her or anyone else. That's the tagline. It's about you, right? I don't know. Am I
Mhm.
making sense here? It's
Oh,
like it's
totally.
like so raw and so real in my life that sometimes when I talk about it, it's like, is this like getting away from like, what people are wanting to hear? But I don't think so, right? Because what I've learned is that when we finally come home to ourselves and we use the breath and we use the body and we speak a truth, our truth, not anybody else's truth. See, that's the thing about truth. Everybody wants the truth, but we need our own truth. The truth isn't found out there. And when we do that, everything shifts. Every one of our relationships changes. And I see this across generations. Many of the women that I work with, they're all around my age, give or take 30 years.
Give or take a couple decades, no big.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
my daughters, from daughters in their 20s and 30s to grandmothers in their 70s, right? It's almost like no matter what stage of life we're in, these patterns that we've been conditioned into are all the same. And for me, when we stop abandoning ourselves, we get to move through the day with much more peace. Is it perfect? Absolutely not, but it's more peace, and that peace ripples out into everybody and every relationship then changes. It's incredible the way that magnet works back to you when you're different. So the thing that came out of this work for me is my saying is, my, how you've changed since I've changed. Because
Wow.
even if they changed or not, it doesn't matter. The way I perceive it changes, and that changes everything. It changes their reaction, their response. And I know I'm going different places here, but it's all part of the same conversation.
Yeah.
One thing just leads to the next. So yeah, don't abandon yourself. Like that's where we break the cycle, right here, right where you are right now, and that's what creates this legacy of liberation and freedom that the work that you do, the work that Sam does, this is what we're bringing out into the world because this is the conversation that women need to have, right? Not that they need to have, they are having,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. I am obsessed with what you said, that self-abandonment is like poisoning
Yes.
ourselves. Whoa, that's hitting deep, babe. So, what are some signs that we're self-abandoning? What are some signs that we're poisoning ourselves? Because the conditioning is so thick. The commitment to the persona to be safe is so primitive that we can be in self-denial our whole lives. Many of us see our mothers and our grandmothers go to their grave in their persona. So what were some warning signs that we're self-abandoning?
Oh my God. I mean, just look at, if any one of us could probably look at our lives and see the signs, the way I mean, just the obvious ones, right? The way we sleep, the way we eat, the way we distract ourselves with crap on television and, just ads and shopping and TikTok and all the things. I mean, those are the obvious ones, right?
Yeah.
And then there are the less obvious ones, that where we fight our internal battle. That is always well, for me, I'm speaking only for myself here. It was always at war. You know
Mhm.
that the good and evil, if you will. What am I going to do? And it was fear that always kept taking me back that extra step. So that fear. I mean, every one of us we could all have a million different people will have 10 million different ways that they self-abandon themselves. So what is it?
Unknown caller.
What is, sorry,
That's okay.
what is that? Could be anything. What is it for
Mhm.
you? Do you have one, like, right off? I bet if you ask all of your listeners right now, they would each have something right at the top of their brain to shoot out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think my body of work is perfectionism. So perfectionism is self-abandonment. It's I'm trying to meet a societal ideal that I have subscribed to will keep me safe and make me lovable.
Exactly.
And if I just try harder, do it better, do it louder, I'll be better. And it might even be things I don't even give a shit about.
Right.
So it's doing things that I don't even, that are not in alignment with my heart and my spirit, because I think that's what a good girl, mother, wife, therapist, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah will be. It's the people pleasing. It's the shape shifting. It's the saying yes when you mean no and the no
All of it.
when you mean yes. It's the fake ass energy that we get so used to culminating so that we can function in the world that eventually takes us into burnout. That's
Egg,
just a couple of ways that I see it, girl.
eggs. Well, all those ways. You listed them better than me, because my brain had so many things I couldn't spit out anything. And what we're talking about here is, how are we hearing our own voice?
Yes.
How are we actually listening to our own truth? And that's the thing most people deny. Everything that
Yes.
that we're saying, we deny the truth of what we need, what we want. And I'll tell you what, that is life changing. For me, that
Mm.
was me. I mean, I was so burned out. I believe my doctor says, you're crazy. You didn't cause your endometrial cancer. But for me, because the journey that started for me was this healing journey that took me all the way through the tunnel, right, to this other side. And when I said that to him a couple of years ago, he was like, "No, don't think like that." And I said, "No, that's a good thing to know that, because it's not in my body. It was caused. I know I don't want to go into that, but I think that's a truth. People
Mm.
can really bring on these problems, shoulder aches, pains all over their bodies. That's the trauma. That's the pain, the denial that they don't want to face. And when I started to speak that, and it was slow at first, Brooke, because it's like, it's strange territory.
Yeah.
It's even to admit it to yourself. It's a strange territory to learn to hear your own voice. And as I got more comfortable with that, and then more would come through. Like, it's slow coming through. And that's why this work is so important to do in collaboration, in community, right? Your community is amazing, because we learn from each other. We hear things that we might not have um, thought of on our own, or maybe I would have thought of it in 5 years down the road, right? And when we
Yes.
could come together and speak a truth that we've never spoken before,
Yeah.
to with other people that are listening. And this is for me the key. They're listening without judgment. They're listening without comparison. Although we see ourselves, we're not comparing, and we're listening with no expectation, right? When we could speak and be heard with in an environment like that, it changes us again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. So wait a minute. So you had a cancer diagnosis. Is
I
that
did.
what kickstarted your healing journey?
Oh, 100%. I've
Can
been
we talk a
on,
little bit about that?
you bet. I was into personal development and self-help from the beginning. I'm old, from the very beginning. For 40 some odd years, transcendental meditation, the life training, and all of that started the journey. And I was a fitness professional then for 30 years, almost for 25 years. But that was that fake persona. As long as I
Mm.
had a rock hard ass, I was good,
Oh my
you
God.
know. But if I got on the scale and it was up a pound, I lost my voice that day. It was like, who's going to look at me? You gained a pound, you know.
Oh God.
You know, it was like great. That was the battle inside, right?
Okay.
Knowing I
Okay.
still looked good, but that scale number jacked with my
Was
head.
tied to your worth and your courage.
100%, absolutely.
Okay.
So, and then I created a program called Food Freedom the Game. And I was a pioneer. I mean, I know it had always been around, carb cycling and whatnot. But when I started bringing that to my clients, it changed the game because it was such a great way to live, but it was still a full time friggin' job. I mean, 24/7. It was food, it was shopping, it was prepping, it was meal, it was exercising, it was teaching my clients, it was all the things. And I did that for about 8 years, and it was fabulous. I had the best success and the best clients, but I was burning out slowly. And now I'm sitting in front of my television trying to type out a message for one of my groups, and 3 hours passed by and I was laying like this, and I was like, that was burnout, and I was too stupid to even really recognize it. And I would slap my laptop down and say, I'll do it in the morning. And I was just, that was going on for the longest time. I don't even know, months like that. And then I got the diagnosis, and
Mm.
that changed everything. And a month after my surgery, I will never forget it. I canceled all my clients' reoccurring payments. I sent them an email and I said, it's been my honor to work with you. I've taught you everything I could, and I quit. And they were like, what?
Wow. Wow. You were going to make a pivot, right? Like
That was it.
what was brewing for you? The truth.
The truth was
The
brewing.
truth was brewing, and this wasn't what you wanted to do anymore.
And a couple of weeks after that, I had a come to Jesus moment. I call it a near death experience on the bathroom floor. It was after my third and final radiation treatment. I was on the bathroom floor naked, sweating, and in one of those classic that people talk about, and I would like roll my eyes and think, "Oh my God, how dramatic!" And there I was. I had no voice. I couldn't even call for my husband. And then God was saying to me, "Enough, Vera, enough." And I'm going, "Enough what, God?" Because I was always a God girl, a follower of Jesus. But in my head, I was a follower of Jesus, and this was like me, myself, and him. And he told me to use all the tools. And I'm like, going, use all the tools. Like, I didn't even know what that meant because I thought I had all the tools.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I was on the bathroom floor, but when I finally stood up and walked out, I was in a, I came through the veil. I didn't know what that meant at that time, but
Oh.
I was in a strange new world, and everything was different. And shortly after that, all the tools started to come into my life, sound healing. And not that I hadn't heard of that before. I even dabbled with it a little bit here and there, but that was because of my Catholic upbringing. That was woo woo shit, and I couldn't go there. Right.
Yeah.
But all
Yeah.
of a sudden it was like in my face, and it was like changing me. And then I met Sam Skelly,
Mm.
and that I heard a song doing a breath work. I tell this story all the time. Doing my first breath work, a free thing she was doing, a song by Trevor Hall called This Old Story. And that song changed my life because it was
Mm.
this old story. I was holding on with two hands. And that started this journey. And I took a 5-year sabbatical. I worked with some of the most amazing mentors around the world.
Mm.
And here I am now writing my book, which is a raw, honest. That's why it's resonating with people, because it just cuts through the chase, and it just speaks a language that people are calling me up and saying, "Oh my God, Vera, how do you know my heart? How do you know
Mm.
what I'm going through?" And the impact it's having is like mind boggling. And this was a download from the Lord. Like, this was being written the whole time. So I know I could go on and on. I'm so sorry, but
Oh
it's
no,
like
don't.
it's happening now. Number one on Amazon yesterday.
Yes. So did you always want to write a book, or how did your journey, your teachings, all of these things, these pieces in your story that have come
Mm.
together. How did you realize that you wanted to put them into a book?
It was 2019. It was right after my surgery, and at the very like early, we were just starting to hear about COVID,
Mm,
right? And we
mm,
didn't even know what it was yet.
mm,
But I was sharing an office with a few girls, and I never saw them. I never went into the office. Um, it was too far out of my travel circle, so I just like the idea of an office, but I never went there. Anyway, this one particular day, I went to the office, and Rhonda Peoples was there, and she said, "What are you doing, Rhonda?" And I said, Rhonda, I'm going to write a book one day. I said, "I'm writing a book," and that was it. She said, "You are?" And I said, "Yes, I am," and that was that. A few months later, it's COVID now, and I was talking to somebody who mentioned Rhonda, and they said Rhonda was writing a book with a group of people. So I called her on the phone. I said, "What's this? I hear you're writing a book." She said, "I am. Do you want to join us?" I said, "I do." So I got involved writing this collaboration book. Here it is. We were number one on Amazon in 3 different categories, and we created it's called Empowering
Empowering
Women with
women with
Words,
words. Ooh.
Life Changing Conversations. And this was the most incredible experience. We met weekly, and I changed, and they challenged me to break some of those old denials that I was like, no, fuck you, you are wrong. But when I really stopped and looked at what was the lesson for me in whatever that with with them was, it was always my lesson, you know. And it was
Mm.
unbelievable the way the divine just put these things right in my path. I can't even explain it. It's like, oh my God. So then one of the girls said, "One day we're going to be a publishing company." And I rolled my eyes like, yeah, right. So we did all of that, and it was amazing. And then when I started to do this, because this was a work, like when I first started off the bathroom floor, I started writing in big pages on the walls. It
Wow.
was just pouring out. I couldn't explain it. My husband was saying, calling my kids and my girlfriends and going, like, "What's going on with Vera? Like, is she going to be okay? Like, I think she's losing her mind." And they're side eyeing me, and they're looking at me, and I'm walking around going, "Whoop, whoop."
Like, I am in a creative portal, bitches. This is what creation in the divine feminine looks like. It's
It's so,
unhinged.
just letting it happen. And I'm saying to them, like, this is like a full body orgasm. Like, I had no language for it because I
Wow.
did not know it, but
Wow.
I could not stop it. And
Wow.
it was just like incredible. So, yeah, my husband was hysterical. I mean, I give him credit in my book.
They
I said,
all think we're going crazy. And it's like, no, we're actually just coming alive. So you better get ready, sir.
and
We're
it's been
coming
a
alive. We're coming
5 year
online.
journey, right? My
Yeah.
girlfriend said, watching that chaos, the
Mm,
way it's filtered down and filtered down. See, I've always been the kind of person like, don't give me the long version. I want to know the end of the movie because I want to know if I want to watch the movie. If it, don't give me the
we have
long
that in
form.
common. What patience doesn't come easy to us.
No, I don't want no. And you know what else I realized is that I am a creator. I am not a manifesting generator. All those things, those labels that limited us, right? Once I realized what I truly am, I
Mm,
was like, "Oh my God, it really fits who I am." And I was trying to be that because everybody said I was that. But anyway, yeah, the creation
mm,
is incredible. So yeah, it came through, and then it like, I just want you to give it to me. Don't
yeah.
sugarcoat it. And that's what the book is. It's just straight up truth. And that's why
Mm,
it's resonating with people. Like, I've never
mhm.
seen anything like it, Brooke. And yeah.
What's
Uh,
that been like for you? What is it like at, because I think one of the things, um, how do I say this? So at Advanced Energetics,
yes.
you had shared with me vulnerably some things and about your journey and about some stuff with your daughters and your decision to live in your truth and then how that affected your relationships. And we were at the end of the retreat. We were
Mhm.
doing some crazy ass thing with Raina and Kristen. And what I had in that moment, seeing someone your age, your wisdom, your journey, still doing the work and becoming you and breaking generational patterns
Yes.
and it never being too late. I had this, I'm getting full body chills right now. I had this immense hope for the future come over me
Yes.
because I'm like, when this bad bitch is doing this work and facing herself,
Yes.
it's never too late. You can do it. I can do it. Our daughters can do it. Our grandmothers can do it. Our sisters can do it. Like, it's never too late to like come home to the truth.
That's right.
And so you gave me so much hope that day. Like I was like, I think
Mm.
we're gonna actually fucking be okay, everybody.
Oh my
But
God.
but I wanna take that to the now, which is so you are guided to channel this book of your experience and to put it out into the world, and you're seeing how deeply it's resonating.
Yes.
And I just want to talk about what that experience really is, because I think there's so many things that we all go through that we don't realize our sisters, our neighbors, our mothers are also going through, and we other ourselves.
Yes.
But this is such a oneness thing that we're talking about, and that I can feel your gratitude of like, I am alive and the oneness because people are resonating with my truth. So let's just talk about that experience for a minute.
Mm. It's, it happens in real time. It happens, daily when you're so aware of it, right? And as it was starting to happen, I was like, what is that? Because it's a feeling. It truly is a body feeling. But
Mm,
I think what you're really asking me is, yes, my daughter was a big catalyst in all of this, and we were like this because that's what's happening with a lot of people in the world these days. There's estrangement, there's disconnection, there's no contact, and I could see that happening in my own situation with my daughter, and her husband is basically estranged from his mother, and I had no idea what this was, estrangement. I mean, I knew it happened, but not to the level that it does. And I'm getting involved, and we're triangulating, and I'm learning all these things, and it's getting worse and worse and worse with us, me and my
mm,
daughter,
mm,
because she's protecting her husband. And as I was realizing this truth, that what my experience in the relationship, what I was causing, right? And I started to look at myself, and why was that happening? Because I wanted to be included. I was afraid that if they could do that to her, then they could do that to me. And it's almost as if I was causing that by the way
mm.
I was handling it, by the way I was reacting. And as my energy shifted, like I said earlier, my how you've changed since I've changed. And doing the work is no easy thing. I don't want to, I'm not telling anybody that this is like, snap. This is an ongoing process, and you have to learn to trust that process. And then when you're having that moment, that experience, that feeling, to instead of trying to get away from it because you're afraid of it, to allow it to come through you, right? That's the work. And that becomes the operating system. And as you do that more, and then you get validated at a retreat like we were at, and that was so incredibly powerful for me when she called me back the next day to use my story to put to finish that example. That was a turning point for me because I felt the love and the that everybody in that room was receiving what I was saying, just like you did. I had no idea that you
Mm.
felt that way, like that, what you had just shared. And so did so many of the others.
Mhm.
And I know I could be long winded and get a little because there's so much. I mean, there's so much in my head right now. But yeah, so with my daughter, I wrote this book, and I have a son too. And, he's going through his own thing, and, that causes relationship distance. I had to share it with them first, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want nothing to do with it. They don't want to talk about it. And I stayed with it. And then
Mhm.
I said to them, I finally said, look, I am releasing this book, and I just need you to read it so you know what's in it. I didn't ask for their approval. I didn't ask for their permission. I just said, this is what it is. And they've been watching my transformation for 5 years, also questioning if I was going off the deep end or not, you know. But having said to my daughter, I have never been more than who I am than I am now. And I'm sorry, for what I couldn't give you back then because I didn't have it to give you. I can't change that. And all of that is in the book in just one little paragraph. But it's the truth. That's what resonates with people. Am
Yeah.
I making sense? They hear
Yes.
that kind of truth because most of us want to say, I don't know what's wrong with my daughter. She doesn't want to talk. No, that's not it. It's like,
Mm.
and as I changed, she shared my book. I
Wow.
said to her, Sarah, you don't have to share it if you don't want to. I said, just buy it. You read the early chapters, and if you leave me a review, that would be great. And she was like, okay, thanks, Mom. But then she actually shared it on Facebook and said, my mom wrote a book. So proud. I'm like, you
Oh.
see, because
Oh.
am I making, yeah, it's like
Oh, totally. And
how
oh,
how we come into it.
yes,
How am
the
I
energy
entering
we
into this?
have.
And we don't get there easily. I had to battle my way here to the
Totally.
truth, but it's so
But
good.
but the part that is so inspiring though is that you were willing to look at your part
Yes.
in the breaking down, and also, which takes so much courage, so
Yes.
much, we just want to blame because it's easier, because it's vulnerable to look at ourselves and take responsibility for our part in a breaking down of something. And so I honor that, I respect that so
Mm.
deeply, Vera. But also, it's the permissioning yourself to become who you really are, and then to tell your children, you guys have projected onto me that I am this person and I am this mother and I am supposed to do this and do that. But actually, my loves, this is who I am. And can you meet me here now? And I'm open and I'm available. And girl, that is like relationship changing material
Yes.
in marriages, in
Yes.
mother daughters, in daughter son. In It's like we don't give ourselves permission to change and become and evolve. We keep ourselves stuck in the good mother and the people pleaser. And when we do decide to change, people project their fear onto us that we're different.
Well, that's right. Because how is your difference going to affect me?
Exactly.
You know, but the truth is, it affects every relationship better.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I want to leave with people is that yes, it's hard. Yes, you fear it. But on the other side of that, if you just stay with it, maybe one more conversation,
Mm,
maybe one more day that you give them a little bit of space before you enter back in, no matter what the relationship is,
mm.
you are different. You are more solid where you are. I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Um, I was like, where was I going with that? I don't know. I got so many things I don't.
we were talking about how like people fear you're different and how's that going to affect me.
Yes, it's so true.
That's what you were talking about. But it's like, and then you were talking about how if everybody stands liberated in their truth, and that's honestly what I want to like hear you talk about is what do especially as it relates to like me and you are like let's beat around the bush. I really need women in their truth frequency right now because we've got like world shit to figure out. We've got a planet to heal. We've got generational trauma to break. Like for some reason we were the chosen ones, so let's fucking do the job. And I need women in their truth, liberated in their power, using their gifts, raising the frequency of the planet. That is my why. What do you think becomes available for the world when women or just anybody is liberated in their truth?
Yeah, everything comes to the world when we do that because when we're not afraid to be who we are, right? When we're not afraid of being judged and when we don't give a fuck if we're being judged. I mean, if I'm being crazy, absolutely. But if I'm just being who I am and living my life, then why should what you think of me matter? right? And when we can all
Yeah.
feel like that, then we all just get along a little bit better. It just works that
Mhm.
way. I really can't explain it. It's an energetic thing. It's like if we're mismatching with the people in our life, if our energy is a constant mismatch, that is not a good relationship. Even if it's
Mm-mm.
with your children, because I do a lot of work with, with adult children and estrangement and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be just adult children. It's siblings, it's in the office, it's with best friends, right? Like you were saying, sometimes we just get a mismatch. And if we could come back to our own shit, we can maybe get back in alignment. And
Yes.
maybe that's not going to happen and we have to separate for a while. And then
Yeah.
maybe we all go on our own little journey and then we come back again, at a different time and we're in a different place and we can be okay again. Does that make sense?
Oh,
And that's
totally.
just the way it works. Sometimes we find somebody, and isn't that amazing when we do, that we could run the race side by side to the end. But I think most of us come in and out of these relationships through life because we don't know what's going on in somebody else's world, their own experiences, their own illnesses. So we have to give them grace, right? It's about grace.
Yes.
It's not about changing you to match what I need. It's about giving you grace to be who you are and being okay with that. If you go bye-bye for a little while, I'll see you soon. You know?
Yes. I think
Yeah.
we need to normalize that because
Yeah.
inauthenticity means that you're not in your truth frequency, your truth
Yeah.
energy, which means you're mismatching. You're matching with people that
Mismatching.
are aligned to your inauthentic
That's
frequency. And so this is why I think it's so important, particularly in marriage, is like the frequency that I was at when I met my husband 20 years ago, when I was knee deep in bulimia, knee deep in drinking, knee deep in all my woundedness,
mm,
single mom, just cheated on, family moved away, just like starting my corporate career. I was a broken ass bitch. And that's the frequency that I was on. Well,
yeah.
now 20 years later, I've done a lot of healing work. Am I perfect? Never will be.
No.
But if I want to stay with my partner as I evolve my frequency, I have to change and we have to talk about it and it has to be okay. Otherwise, I stay sick because my partner, you see what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. I've been married 41 years. We just celebrated 41 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My husband could care less about my work. He
Why don't they care? I tell Tony all the time, I'm like, you should be listening to my podcast and taking notes. And I'm like, do you even read my stuff?
no, yeah, no, that's my husband. And it's like, and
No,
it's okay.
they don't.
Sometimes he comes home and like he's out on the porch and we're hanging out and he says something and I go, oh my God, like really? I go, you know what? I'm just going to walk away from that. And I just stand up and I walk away. It's like, I have had that thought, whatever it might be. Because men are
Yes.
funny, especially old men.
Yes. I know. They just get grumpy, don't they? But
No,
it's
I
like
have a great husband.
we
He's
don't
like,
have to change them. We don't have to change them.
that's the
And
point.
we can change. We get to change. And I think a lot of people are afraid to change because they fear it's going to break down their family
You
system.
are 100%. And that was me for a long time. I was like,
Yes.
if I become really successful,
Yep. And
how is that going to
happy and hot and
what's going to
wealthy.
happen to my marriage, right?
Yes.
Am I going to want to travel and Dave isn't going to want to and we're going to break up? After all this time, he's always taking care of me. I can't do that to him. And now I'm
Yep.
thinking, what the hell was wrong with you? Be successful, make the millions of dollars and take his ass with you to carry your luggage. If
Exactly. Yeah. That is it. That
you
is
know,
it.
because
That
he's
is it.
always supported me. He's never
Yes.
said no. He's always like, I said, Dave, I need a lot of money to publish my book. He's like, how much is a lot of money? I'm going,
You're
well, I
like,
don't
you
really
don't think you
know
want to know.
yet. You got to hire all these people to do the
It
things I
is.
can't do. And, he's like, okay. And then,
Yeah.
6 grand on my two teeth.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
it all adds up, right? But it's so good to
But
be
don't
able
be
to
afraid
just
to change because
no.
you're if your husband is really supposed to be with you, He will
Yes.
be rooting for you, even if it shows up in weird, mysterious, not very active ways, and you're inspiring him, and you're
Yeah.
inspiring your children, and
One
there's nothing to lose by being in the truth of who you are, and people may come and they may go, and you are equipped to deal with that.
truth is the
Because my
new.
experience is it is more comfortable for me to be in my truth and
Oh, yeah.
grieve people coming and going than to be what everyone else wants me to be for another minute of my life, because I also agree with you that shit makes us sick,
It
legitimately.
does. And that's also, that's also a choice though, because we could choose, because there are some people in my life that just annoy the crap out of me, but I love them,
Yeah.
and they don't have to be out of our life,
No.
for me to love
You get
them.
to choose where they're at in your
No,
circle and at your
that's
table.
right. We don't, it doesn't have to be either or, all or nothing. We get to choose. And when they're in my environment, I just go, okay, here we go. They're in my environment. And when you're different, you could just kind of laugh off whatever their behavior is or their irritation is, because I'm sure I irritate a lot of people, in my own,
Oh, I
myself.
for sure we trigger people.
You
Truth
know,
tellers trigger people, and that is actually medicine.
But true trust is the new ground, and that's where it is. Trusting in
Mm.
myself, and
Mm.
I am never going to, like, when I was doing the book, I had people advising me. Somebody wanted a different cover. They were like, no, that's the wrong cover. And I was like, you know what, with all due respect, and they're professional in the industry. I was like, that might be the better cover, but it's not the right cover. I said, and I have to
Mm.
go with what my gut is telling me.
Yes.
Period. That's trusting, like, the leading of something greater than you and me both put together, with
Yes.
all due respect. And that's, I think, when we, even with our families, even with our children, even in, wherever we are, when we could trust that, as long as we're not being destructive. Of course, there are limits to that,
Boundaries.
but I'm talking normal everyday choices that we want to make that somebody doesn't agree with. That's okay that you don't agree, but
Yes.
this is my choice and this is how I'm going forward. It's so good, Brooke. Oh my God.
Yeah, the trusting ourselves, that is really going to unlock a next level of living.
Yes.
But you're right, it's a journey. Like, we say these things like they're profound statements, but they're more experiences. It's like it's been a journey to even start to trust myself. I had to heal my relationship with my body, because your body holds the codes, but my body, I had been disconnected for 30 years. I was operating chin up from the limitations of my conditioned mind. So I didn't have all the answers. I didn't have my connection to God's source. I didn't have my
No.
connection. I had to like dust out the cobwebs and be like, hey, body, I'm going to stop abusing you now,
Oh, yeah.
and now I want to actually hear your whispers of wisdom. That took me years.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
Years.
Dust out the cobwebs. How cute. I needed a hammer and fucking chisel, baby. I mean, I was 61. Like, that's a lot of packing it in,
Yes.
and
Yes.
not to
A
diminish you, but
chisel. A chisel.
I needed the wrecking ball, and I got it. You know,
Whatever tool you need, babe. We're here for it. We are the holders of the space for it. So, Vera, this is so beautiful. What's one, and at the end we'll tell the beautiful listeners where they can find your beautiful book, but what's one piece that you really want to leave, that you're feeling called to leave the listeners with today? We've talked
you
about
know,
so many cool things, but what's a
yeah.
piece you want to
I
leave?
mean, just real simple and sweet. Like, my hope is that people hear and know that you're not broken and you're not alone, right? And I've been saying this for years, but now I say it with a different belief in it. You're not too old, it's not too late, and you won't die doing the work. You might die if you don't do the work. And that's a different kind of death. That's that slow, miserable death that we create inside. Doing the work, it frees you, just frees you. And
Yes.
you won't die doing the work, and you'll be forever liberated, because you can't go back.
Yeah.
You
Don't
can't go.
wait. Don't wait.
Don't wait. That's right. It's in that quiet truth that lives inside long before we abandoned ourselves, that truth, that connection that you said you dusted off to get to, it never left you. It
Yeah.
never leaves. It's born in us. It's born in humanity, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that's the truth,
Yeah. I
and
believe that. And I love that you said you're not going to die trying, like, wow. I feel like people need to hear that. And because when I think about, like, if I were to die today, would I be proud of the work that I've done?
Mm.
And hell yes, I would. Hell yes. And then I think, well, I'm not dying today, bitch. So now the better it gets, the better it gets. The more healing I do, the more revealing of my truth, the more rising into my truth and power and abundance. And now
Yes.
it just gets to get better and better and better and better and better and better as I navigate the messy, the hard. And and so I feel like that was a really important thing for people to hear because sometimes that blocks us from starting.
Well, absolutely, and we really do. I truly believe we could try and force ourselves to start, or we could surrender and we start when we start. And I think we start easier when we figure out we have to surrender. And you legacy. You said the word legacy. That's what I do. Legacy in motion. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Because legacy is not what we leave behind when we're gone. Legacy is what we're living right now. This is the legacy we're leaving. When I had that conversation with my daughter, that was my legacy. That
Mm.
not the tight ass, distant,
Mm.
emotionally unavailable mother that raised her, but who I
Mm.
am now is the legacy. And that
Mm.
changes for my grandchildren too. And just one more thing, and I know this might sound crazy, but
Mm.
during this work for me, in a moment of connection and meditation, you kind of go to another realm. I liberated the past. Those
Mm.
women that helped shape me, they came to me in that moment and they were freed. And I truly believe that, we want to break those, the generational chains so that we change the future. But we can actually free those women that came before us, that did the best they could and help
Yes.
shape us and free them. And I really feel like that day they were able to leave and go to their next journey.
Wow.
It's just so, it was so deep. It was like,
Wow.
oh my God. And even to just say
Yes.
that, I've never said that to anybody before. So I
Really?
don't know why I felt the need to share that little story now. I guess it's time.
I guess I believe it. That's a sign of healing. So when you
Mm,
go out of blaming your mother and your grandmother and your lineage and you get to a deep gratitude of
yes.
the paths that they walked.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that's how you know you're healing.
They
I
didn't
see
have.
everything different. It's like they did the best they could, and they are you guys. They are cheering us on
Oh,
in
yes.
the spirit realm. Like I have had so many mediums and energy workers tell me your crew is first of all they're wild and they are celebrating the shit out of you doing this work, facing the trauma, healing yourself,
Yes.
living your truth, growing, evolving. Like it's so powerful. And now we're realizing that when one woman heals, she heals 7 generations before and after. And that is
Wow.
also so gangster. I can't even handle it. All
Wow.
right, my love.
You are.
Where can my community find this book and how can they connect with you?
The easiest way right now is probably the Facebook or Instagram, Vera Knight. I'm easy to find.
Okay, we'll link that in the show notes.
And I can give you the link to my website. It's
Mm,
verasvision.com. And
mm,
you can find out information about the book and all my
mm.
stuff there.
Vera, thank you for bringing your medicine to the world. Like, there's something about your belly laugh that when you and I belly laugh, we like go somewhere different that feels like
Yeah.
deep, like ancestral, like you're just like how real you are and you
Mm.
talk the truth and then you laugh so hard. Like that's just love. It's love, it's love, it's love, it's love. And the love in me sees the love in you and keep bringing your light to the world and keep showing women that it's never too late.
Yes. Thank you. There it is.
Don't wait till your mother is dead.
Oh, it's such
It's
a
not
great
about
book.
her, it's about you.
It's not about her. Thank you. Brooke, this was amazing. Thank you so much for having me. It's
Yes.
been an honor, and I can't wait to maybe do more with you.
Absolutely, babe. Thank you for
Mm.
coming into the listener. I know you got something out of this conversation. Make sure you go follow this queen. You will not regret it. And I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Hey, boo, if you made it this far, I know you're serious about healing, revealing, and rising, living a life unperfected. Just by showing up, you're telling the universe, I matter. I'm ready. So don't be surprised if things start shifting in your favor. If this episode moved you, do me a favor, rate and review the podcast on Apple or Spotify. It helps us reach more high-achieving, high-performing women who are ready to stop pretending and start living. And if something really landed, DM me on Instagram at Brooke Jean Unperfected or share a clip and tag me. I want to see what's moving through you. And hey, don't forget, you can watch this episode on YouTube and join my brand new VidMe membership for exclusive content, coaching, and community for only $35 a month. We're not just talking about rising, we're doing it together.